Listening is an act of love. Thank you. You can help lift up the voices, stories, and challenges we share by making a contribution at thiswayout.org.
A sincere thank you to all of you who already support This Way Out. Your support matters.
I'm Melanie Keller.
And I'm Michael Taylor Gray.
With NewsWrap, a summary of some of the news in or affecting LGBTQ communities around the world for the week ending May 22nd, 2021. Namibia's Justice Minister, Yvonne Dosab, announced this week that the decriminalization of gay sex is now on the government's agenda. It's among recommendations to overturn 34 obsolete laws by the Law Reform and Development Commission. The Commission's report on repeal of obsolete laws was accompanied by a separate report on the abolishment of the common law offenses of sodomy and unnatural sexual offenses, which specifically ban anal sex. Dosab told the Windhoek Observer that the recommendations were not yet law. She called them informed conclusions based on legal research and said that no Namibian should be comfortable with any part of our society being excluded or stigmatized and discriminated against on the basis of their sexual orientation. The Commission's report stated that the very existence of a ban on men having sex with men violates the fundamental rights of the individuals who could be affected, as well as creating and reinforcing a culture of homophobia and intolerance against LGBT plus people. It concluded that such a ban interferes with the constitutional and international law rights of individuals in Namibia, and for that reason, the continued existence of this law cannot be justified. The government's proposal still must survive the legislative process before gay male sex is decriminalized. However, Justice Minister Dosab told local media in the South African nation's capital of Windhoek that she expects the bill to go before the National Assembly before the year ends.
Namibia marked another milestone just before the government's announcement about decriminalizing gay sex. It issued emergency travel documents to allow the twin daughters of Philip Lull and his Mexican husband Guillermo Delgado to come home. Lull and the surrogacy-birthed twins have been stranded in South Africa. According to Reuters, a cabinet shuffle in April made the difference. The Home Affairs Ministry had ordered that Lull first prove a genetic link to the twins before they could legally enter the country. The High Court refused to overturn the order. The new Home Affairs Minister removed the government's opposition to the twins entering the country, but Lull told Reuters that they then would not be able to leave Namibia. The couple has been fighting for their 2-year-old son's citizenship, and 2 weeks ago, the government issued him an emergency passport. Lull said the couple will now seek passports for their baby daughters so they can all travel as a family. A statement from the Home Affairs Ministry noted that the documents it has issued have no bearing on any of the children's citizenship applications, even if the twins are given emergency passports. The ministry is awaiting the final resolution of the High Court order that Lull also prove his genetic link to the couple's son.
The U.S. State Department has reversed yet another policy of the preceding administration. This one denied citizenship to a child born outside the country to a married same-gender couple with at least one U.S. spouse, unless the child has a genetic relationship to the U.S. citizen parent. The previous department considered those children of legally married same-gender couples to have been born out of wedlock. A number of gay couples whose surrogate babies were born in another country had sued. U.S. citizenship is routinely granted to children born to married heterosexual couples overseas. The Biden administration's State Department announced the policy change on May 18th. It notified all U.S. overseas posts and Congress that U.S. citizenship should be granted to children both overseas through assisted reproductive technology to either heterosexual or same-gender couples as long as at least one parent has a genetic relationship to the child. The policy change is retroactive, so all the couples who had sued the previous administration can now reapply to get U.S. citizenship for their children. Lawyers from Immigration Equality and Lambda Legal represented several queer couples in lawsuits challenging the previous policy. Immigration Equality Executive Director Aaron Morris joined the celebration, saying that, We have once again affirmed that it is not biology, but love that makes a family.
The Serbian government has recalled its ambassador to Poland. Nikola Jurovac joined some 40 other, mostly European ambassadors in signing a letter expressing support for the Polish LGBTQ community. It was issued on May 17th to mark the International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, and Transphobia. That was not the best timing for Ambassador Jurovac. The letter was released a day before Serbian Foreign Affairs Minister Nikola Selakovic was due to visit Poland, and his trip was postponed because of the ruckus. The far-right Polish government has fomented local declarations of anti-queer LGBT-free zones across the country, so their displeasure with the support letter was not surprising. Serbia's government said that Jurovac had failed to get its approval before he signed the letter. Minister Selakovic claimed that the issue was not its content, but the failure of the Serbian ambassador to sign a document without informing the person responsible for his work.
The state of Tennessee continues to lead the charge against transgender young people in the U.S. Governor Bill Lee signed 3 more measures into law this week. One bathroom bill allows public schools to be sued by anyone offended by their allowing trans students, teachers, or staff to use sex-segregated bathrooms and locker rooms that conform to their gender identity. The law rejects the very existence of transgender people by defining sex strictly as a person's immutable biological sex as determined by anatomy and genetics existing at the time of birth. 3 days later, Lee signed a second bathroom bill that requires private businesses and public venues to post signs outside their bathroom and changing rooms if they allow trans people to use the appropriate facilities. Perhaps the cruelest bill Governor Lee signed outlaws gender-affirming medical care for transgender young people. Arkansas is the only other state to do that, at least so far. Lee already signed bills to ban transgender athletes from competing in school sports and to require advance notice so that parents can opt out of LGBTQ inclusive classroom sessions. Human Rights Campaign President Alphonso David warned in a media statement that patients, parents, and healthcare providers should be guided by science and medical best practices, not the whims of the state legislators. HRC recently counted more than 20 anti-queer bills that have become law in Republican-controlled U.S. states in less than the first 5 months of 2021, and that breaks a record for a full year.
Finally, the states of hate are apparently not being penalized by the National Collegiate Athletic Association. Cities in Tennessee, Alabama, and Arkansas were announced this week as hosts of NCAA postseason softball regional playoffs. This despite the NCAA's bold Board of Governors statement last month that only locations where hosts can commit to providing an environment that is safe, healthy, and free of discrimination should be selected. All 3 states have laws on the books banning transgender athletes from competing in school sports. The U.S. Collegiate Sports Authority previously issued a statement in support of transgender girls and women competing in their identified gender after taking testosterone-suppressing drugs for at least 12 months. The organization moved basketball tournament games out of North Carolina in 2017 after the Republican legislature and governor passed the country's first notorious bathroom bill. According to the Associated Press, the NCAA usually picks baseball and softball regional sites based on team performance, quality of facilities, and financial considerations. COVID-19 protocols also factored into the selections this year. Oklahoma City is scheduled to host the Women's College World Series starting on June 3rd. A trans-in-sports ban is working its way through the Republican-dominated Oklahoma State Legislature now, and Governor Kevin Stitt has signaled his support for it. $20 million that the World Series would generate for the city is at stake. The queer advocacy groups GLAAD and Athlete Ally published an open letter to the NCAA last week urging the sports authority to repeat the actions it took against North Carolina's bathroom bill. A follow-up statement expressed the group's disappointment with the NCAA's decision to go directly against its stated anti-bias policy and allow hate states to host those events. As of this recording, the NCAA has had no comment.
That's NewsWrap, global queer news with attitude, for the week ending May 22nd, 2021. Follow the news in your area and around the world. An informed community is a strong community.
NewsWrap is recording remotely during the COVID-19 emergency. It's written by Greg Gordon, edited by Lucia Chappelle, produced by Brian Teshazer, and brought to you by you.
Help keep us in ears around the world at thiswayout.org, where you can also read the text of this newscast and much more.
And you can read the transcript and listen to NewsWrap each week by subscribing to our This Way Out radio channel on YouTube. For This Way Out, I'm Michael Taylor Gray. Stay healthy.
And I'm Melanie Keller. Stay safe.
This Way Out delivers LGBTQ news and culture to more than 150 local communities on radio stations around the world. And we are also a free online news service. You can choose your favorite way to listen, online or on the air, at thiswayout.org. Please sign up for our free e-newsletter inside This Way Out. We'll respect your trust in us and make sure your personal information is never shared with others.
Just send us an email at info@thiswayout.org to receive the informative and unique addition to the show. You'll be invited to join us for a more in-depth look into our stories and be encouraged to learn more about This Way Out's 3 decades of broadcast activism.
Find out about our upcoming virtual Pride event, James Baldwin, a This Way Out teach-in, live streaming on Instagram and YouTube, June 25th, 2021.
We hope you choose to join us in celebration of LGBTQ history and culture. Email us at info@thiswayout.org to join the movement. We'll make sure you always know what's going on inside This Way Out. Thank you.